to serve the community and have the opportunity to meet with you all. A couple things before I get going. April 8th, council and mayor, a proclamation recognizing national fallen firefighters and our local fallen firefighters. Past August, we lost firefighter Ty Both. This past weekend, when the city buildings were lit in red and flags were half staff, coincided with the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial in Emmitsburg, Maryland. Our fire chief Snow, Captain Lance Diffenbaugh, who was Ty's captain of Firehouse 5, and Captain Chris Lemon attended. Captain Diffenbaugh, his family lives on, and it means a tremendous amount to our organization, mayor and council doing that proclamation. So thank you very much.
It's all you guys. It's all you guys.
So if you don't have a copy of this, we do a monthly report with all the workings of the different divisions of the Wichita Fire Department. You know, our biggest division is the operations, which encompasses all the firehouses in 3 different shifts. So we have fire investigations, our training division, we have community risk reduction. I'm just going to hit on a few points, talk about some of the District 3 stats, field any questions, and talk about a couple of safety messages. So currently, we have another thing that the mayor and council and many others supporters we got going for us with the firefighter cancer screening. For general populace, it's depending on what data you look at, between 11 and 20% or so increased risk for firefighters. So tremendous amount of support from council and mayor and the International Association of Firefighters and many other organizations. So we appreciate it. Right now, we've had 300 contacts with that. We've had 115 members that have completed the screening. We have 143 scheduled now. So that's a tremendously successful program. So again, thank you very much. June 20th, we graduate currently we have 19 candidates in the Recruit Academy at 31st and Oliver. Hopefully all those candidates will be able to finish the fire academy and they'll have their graduation be out on the floor at firehouses on June 20th. So I'm going to get to the safety messages and you know, I do it every single time when I talk about close before you doze, and that's a national program. City of Wichita Fire Department adopted that just in the past 4 or 5 years. It's been around a little bit longer than that, but essentially, for your family, one of the things you can do for your safety and your family's safety at nighttime is close your bedroom doors when you retire for the evening. That simple closed door and the safety message has some pictures. It's kind of hard to see in black and white, but a simple closed door will buy you a tremendous amount of time. So if your normal egress exit from your home is shut off by fire, keep that door closed. When I came on the job in 91, we used to teach people to fill the back of the door, you know, open the door and stay low, crawl. You know, keep the door closed, keep all that bad stuff on the other side. Your firefighters are trained and will equipped to do targeted searches. So if the front and back doors aren't accessible, then we're going to go do targeted searches to the bedrooms and every area that residence, we're going to search it. If it's not showing fire, we're going to get a primary search on it because that's what we're here for. We're here for you, and that's the only reason we exist. Along with close before you doze, smoke detectors. You know, the old adage of, you know, check it when the time changes. We recommend a monthly check. You know, if they're battery detectors, check them monthly. You know, even if they're hardwired, do a monthly check. Every 6 months. That said, if you or you know someone that needs smoke detectors, need assistance with it, our Community Risk Reduction Division has a program where we can provide, if a person can't afford smoke detectors or they need assistance installing them, we'll arrange and come out and assist with putting those smoke detectors in the home. That is essentially it. There isn't a new one on the safety sheet. Grilling safety, it's getting to that time of year. You know, outdoor grilling, make sure your grills are away from your home, and away from flammable items. Pretty self-explanatory there. Try to avoid grilling on your wood decks, and obviously there's ordinances against grilling on apartment building balconies and all kinds of stuff. Again, any questions out there? Yes, sir.
Any questions from your dad first?
Yes.
I saw the fireworks survey is out. How did you guys do last year as far as fireworks? What?
So I don't have that immediately at my recall. Compared to previous years, from our perspective out on the street, it seemed like it was much better than previous years. At least, you know, yes, there were outliers that were shooting the aerial fireworks outside of those designated times. But compared to previous years, it was drastically different. And I always try to work 2 or 3 of those rather than not that year. It was noticeably different for us last year.
You looking at my notes, John?
Am I looking at your notes?
Yeah, you got my note right here instead.
I do have a note for city staff that.
Not right now. You got time for that at the end of the agenda.
Any questions from the public? I guess that's all.
Thank you very much. Y'all doing a good job. Thank you.
Is the police department up next?
Yes.
You got Nicole?
Jason. Top left.
Hello. Happy to be here. A few things to update on. Number one, the recruits will be graduating in July. We're very excited to get them on the streets, help kind of plug some holes and just give us some extra bodies out there. As most of you guys know, things have been pretty busy. There's been some, various violent crimes in the area. But the good news is that your police department works extremely hard, works together with all the various departments, whether it's the detectives, supervision, community policing, homeless outreach, to not only identify, but to apprehend the suspects. And all the major incidents that's happened in our area, we've been able to get those pretty much closed and the people arrested and put in jail within pretty much 24 hours. Today's incident, we had him within a couple of hours, which is a credit to all the officers and all the hard work that they do out there, whether it's knocking doors, contacting citizens, working with businesses, getting footage, things of that nature. So we're really appreciative of the community and the businesses that help. And we wouldn't be able to do it without them, but it's also the patrol officers that are, working tirelessly every single day to make sure that your guys' neighborhoods are safe and those people are held accountable. For our South Community Policing team this morning, even though it was a little bit rainy and wet, Enders Elementary had a bike to school day for the kids. We weren't sure how the turnout would be with the weather and stuff, but there was approximately 45 to 50 kids plus parents that all braved it, got on their bikes, and we were able to kind of do a parade type thing for these young kids and just give them an experience that hopefully they'll remember and a positive interaction with the police department. And then lastly, I know last month, Officer Famachong talked to you guys about the RTM system that we are putting in place. And we've been working every single day, which is risk terrain management. basically focusing our efforts in those areas that bring more issues and problems based on the physical aspects of it, not necessarily the people or anything of that nature. And our area has been Broadway, which isn't really a surprise to many, but we've been working with businesses, working with other departments in the city, whether it's code enforcement or the traffic engineers working on lights or signage, painting roads, things of that nature to try to help vitalize the area, make it better and nicer. And then we're just spending more time in those areas, making sure that we are interacting with the citizens and the businesses, hopefully to make it a safer environment for everybody that visits. So that is all I have. If there's any questions or anything.
Any questions from the board? Okay, any questions from the public? I guess not. Good job.
Thank you, officer.
And thank you very much.
Updates written.
Is the library ready?
Well, she
First,
has,
I'm gonna do Patrol East. That was Patrol South. Patrol East had written updates they sent me, so I'm just gonna read them out.
I'm sorry,
The rain is hard to hear. The Patrol East sent theirs written, so I'm gonna read off their updates before we move on to library.
so you're gonna do an additional place for,
Yep.
Yes,
thank you.
let's
Open for
see.
questions afterwards.
If you want to, I won't have an answer, but you can ask me. I might make up some fun answers off the top. Yeah. Okay, list of work done by Patrol East Community Policing within the past month. Patrol East is currently working within the risk terrain modeling identified zone to reduce Part 1 offenses, primarily gun-related crimes. Within this identified area and with the help of crime analysts who determined that persons within this area are 700 times more likely to be a victim of a gun-related crime. We are working with different entities within the city to help address other identified issues, including MABCD, identifying various housing duplexes that needed boarded up and thus have been secured. Working with the Patrol East Community Policing to assist on an abatement search warrant to clean up an area in the 4200 block of East Boston. Working again with MABCD to assist in the identification of housing duplexes that don't have utilities to help prevent vagrancy of an unoccupied structure. Dealing with a house in the 900 block of South Terrace that was demolished due to unlivable conditions. And then patrol officers are being dispatched to the risk terrain management area, risk terrain modeling area to address high crime times and locations. And Patrol East Community Policing are doing proactive patrols at various times within the RTM area. The current probationary police patrol officers on FTO, and I don't have an explanation for what that acronym means.
Training officer. It's field training officer.
Perfect. Are scheduled to complete their training within the next month. Patrol East will have 4 additional officers once their field training is completed. With summer quickly approaching and kids being out of school for summer break, we typically see an uptick in crimes of opportunity. We encourage citizens, if they see something, to say something and to not leave valuables within their vehicle. Earlier today, a victim reported his firearm stolen out of his vehicle overnight. We highly encourage people to utilize common sense and not leave firearms in locations where they can be easily stolen. There are some of the many ways firearms get in the hands of those that shouldn't be possessing. Officer Berger and Officer Minks completed a 10-week lead law enforcement against drugs and violence curriculum with the Meade Middle School 7th graders. Essentially, this curriculum is a revamped scientific-driven DARE program. Officer Berger and Officer McElwain were quest judges for Criminal Justice Skills USA state competition that was held in Hutchinson, Kansas. 2 girls from Goddard High School won that competition, with the gold winner going to Atlanta, Georgia for the national competition. You can ask questions. No.
Any comments from anybody? Any comments from, okay. We're happy. Now we can have the library, thank you.
So the Wichita Public Library is very excited to invite the community to grand reopening celebrations at recently renovated Westlake and Maya Angelou branches. They both reopened in March after months of construction and years in Westlake space. And interior remodeling to expand the overall footprint and reimagine the use of space to meet the demands of a modern library. Now that the staff has settled into the transformed spaces and the public has experienced changes at both. We are thrilled to welcome the neighboring communities to commemorate the reopenings with day-long celebrations filled with activities for all ages. Below are more details about each, along with the schedule of events. For West Links, they will have it on Saturday, May 10th. I won't read everything, but they will have a ribbon cutting ceremony, a quick and fun sewing class, then all ages rock in the library concert, a symphony orchestra concert, and a contemporary dance. For Angelou's, they will have it Saturday, May 31st. They will have a ribbon cutting ceremony, science songs and R&B, Astro the Robot Dog from the Future Maker Lab at WSU, Renata's Plant Bus, and then a live poetry performance from Ponder This. And then also summer's right around the corner. So we're gearing up for the annual summer reading program. Every summer, the library encourages kids, teens, and adults to spark the love for reading through fun, creative, and educational activities. So beginning May 22nd, program calendars and reading logs will be available at all library branches. So you and your young readers can set personalized reading goals for the summer. If completed, return your log to the library beginning June 26th to earn a prize pack, a free book, and entry to a grand prize drawing in August. For more information, please visit wichitalibrary.org/summerreading. And now for Walter's updates, which I did add a few since I sent these to Becca. On Saturday, May 3rd, Walters hosted another afternoon board game session with four in attendance. The next afternoon board games session will be held from 12:30 to 2:30 on Saturday, June 21st. The Knitting and Crochet Group continues to meet in the Walters meeting room every Wednesday from 11 to 1. Bring your current project and craft with friends and neighbors. And the Walters branch will hold a Microsoft Word for Beginners class on May 27th from 2:30 to 4. Call 361-261-8500 or visit wichitalibrary.org/register. And then these are the few that I added. The Master Gardener series at Walters starts on Tuesday, June 3rd with native plants and grasses from 2 to 3. Discover how using native plants, ornamental grasses, and their lookalikes can help to beautify your yard and protect our environment while also decreasing our water use. And then on Wednesday, June 4th, the Digital Skills of Next Step Alliance series starts with how to use your PC from 4:30 to 6:30. And these classes will be held every other Wednesday throughout the summer. Make sure to register well in advance by calling 316-261-8500 or visiting wichitalibrary.org/events as spots are limited. And then one more series starting in June is a learning circle called Intro to Mindfulness. It will meet for 8 Mondays in a row starting June 16th from 5:15 to 6:45 each evening. We will explore how mindfulness and being aware of the present moment can help with mental well-being and stress reduction. There are only 10 spots available for this experience, and you must register in advance at p2pu.org/Wichita. Talk to Robin, which is me, with any questions you have.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the Westlake grand opening,
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that street. Is it near current service streets?
Tyler and I'm really bad at directions. It's on the west side. Yes.
Actually, the people in the neighborhood know where it's at.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the public?
Did you say we had to register for the garden thing too?
No registration for the gardening.
I'll be there.
Any questions from the public? I guess not. Thank you very much. Public agenda. I guess we have nothing scheduled at this time. Section 4 under off agenda items. Anybody want to speak?
If I could, Mr. Chair, one point of privilege, I'd like to welcome Vanessa Christopherson to the District Advisory Board. She served on a number of boards around the district and the city. She's active with the Police and Fire Foundation, also Citizens Police Academy, and also is, she goes down to Tulsa quite a bit with the new police recruits as well, so she's immensely qualified, and I'm sure she's gonna bring a lot of good input and to our district advisory board, so I'd just like to welcome her here today.
Anybody else? Did you want? Okay, I guess we'll move on to new business, item 6. Is anybody here?
I'm sorry, we're gonna do the bottom first. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Christina Reed with planning staff here to present case number CON 2025-0056. So for this application, the applicant is requesting something called a conditional use to permit an entertainment establishment in the city. Most of it, I would say like 95% of the property is zoned limited commercial. There is a very small portion that's zoned single family, and that's because back in the, I want to say the 1950s or something, it was part of the county previously, and they just did a total zoning overlay, and they said, this section, you know, we're at 47 hydraulic feet, we're gonna say 500 feet around, we're gonna make it limited commercial, and everything else is gonna be single family. So once they divvy the properties up, that there's like a little sliver that you'll see in the zoning map later on that is. So this is a little bit under 3 acres in size, and it's located on the south side of East 47th Street, 250 feet east of South Hydraulic, so that's 1827 East 47th. It's developed with a vacant building constructed in '95 that was previously used as a bingo hall. And the applicant is requesting this conditional use for the entertainment establishment. So that is where they permit both entertainment and alcohol with an occupancy of less than 300 people. So the reason that they're requesting this conditional use is entertainment establishments normally, they're allowed in the limited commercial district. However, if you're within 300 feet of residential zoning, it triggers this application. Within your staff report, let me see what page this is. Within page 6 of your staff report, this is section 3D6W of the Unified Zoning Code. And these outline the supplementary use regulations the applicant must comply with if the conditional use is approved. And so this is in regards to noise compatibility standards, outdoor lighting and screening. And due to the proximity of residences, and I'll show you some photos, later in the report here, we are prohibiting outdoor entertainment on this site, and also implementing hours of operation, and requiring the lot to be free of trash and littering. And these are conditions that are contingent to the conditional use. So, if we find that there is outdoor entertainment or the parking lot is getting too much trash, the conditional use can actually be revoked. So just want to point that out here. And there's some provisions here on the Wichita Landscape Code. They already have some trees, but they just have to verify that it's enough trees to make it, harmonious with the community. And then because of that little sliver that they have, that single family, they have to provide, some screening there to screen from residentially zoned properties. The Unified Zoning Code doesn't have parking requirements for entertainment establishment in the city per se. They do have it for nightclub in the city, which is for 300 people or more. So we are just gonna say like your occupancy is actually limited to what is permitted for nightclub in the city, which is 1 parking space per 2 occupants. So this does have ample amount of parking. It has about 160 parking spaces. However, the occupancy, because of what they're requesting of less than 300 people, it has to be, maximum occupancy is 299 for this site. Noise compatibility standards, they say that there's compatibility standards. I'm trying to see what no sound amplification system can be heard within 500 feet of the subject site. The character of the neighborhood is commercial near the intersections of the arterials, so that's 47th and Hydraulic. And then as we go out further onto 47th, south on Hydraulic, that's where it gets more residential. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. The proposed application is in conformance with the community investments plan. When we look at the Wichita Future Growth Concept Map, which is on page 10 of your staff report, identifies the area to be appropriate for new employment uses. So, you know, we're talking, you know, major shopping centers and office parks likely to be developed in this area, maybe higher density housing, as long as they have, you know, the screening and landscaping and other things to mitigate, to prevent it from impacting some of the lower density residential areas. So the community investments plan has a list of locational guidelines that provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes. So one of the development patterns stated in this, in the community or in the locational guidelines is that development should occur where necessary supporting infrastructure and services exist or are planned for extension concurrently with development. So they're using, you know, an existing building, they're using existing parking. They're not looking to expand this building at all. They are just using the existing shell for that. And so, and given that it's on a major, or, you know, a major street like 47, it's accommodate, you know, it knows how to accommodate that sort of traffic, right? And then, so there's the South Wichita Hayesville area plan, which is, you know, specific to the South Wichita Hayesville area. They have their own future development concept map, which I have on page 11 of your staff report. And it identifies the site as appropriate for commercial uses. And so they're looking to operate commercial here. So staff is recommending approval of this application, subject to the conditions listed in your staff report. They have to comply with the supplementary use regulations. We have hours of operation from 4 to 10, Sunday through Thursday, 4 to midnight, Friday and Saturday. No outside speakers, no loitering in the parking lot. And again, if we find that there's a violation, we reserve the right to revoke this, which are listed in your staff report. We apply them to every conditional use application. I did receive, it says for the last one, opposition or support of neighborhood residents. I just want to talk about the planning commission meeting that happened on April 24th here. So we did have 2 members of the public come, and they were concerned, but they assumed that people would come from 48th Street. There actually is no access from 48th Street. So they were concerned that some of the crowds would overflow into their neighborhood. And we told them that, again, there's only one entrance and it's from 47th Street. So scroll down to the next page, please. So this is just the aerial of the site. As you can see, there's only one entrance from 47th, there's one from 48th. Scroll down.
Can I ask a quick
Yes.
question? I'm trying to get it in my head. Is there a Sonic north on across the
Yes,
street
it's just across from Sonic.
and a quick trip
Yes.
west?
Yep. So
I've been in the area, so I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if we look here, there's this little triangle and that's single family. So just to show you how little of it occupies a single family. And then if we want to go to the next page here.
The neighborhood's used to a lot of traffic.
Mike, as a reminder, we're gonna hold our comments and
Okay, I'm
questions
sorry.
until after the presentation.
And this is what this is how our future growth concept map identifies it for new employment uses. This is the South Wichita Hayesville area plan. That red dot that you see that I'm pointing towards, that is the commercial that is recommended for this site. And then if you want to go to the site photos here, this is just the listing building that they're using. And there's a significant amount of green space around. The parking lot doesn't go all the way to 48th Street. So, with that, I stand for questions, and the agent for the applicant is here to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any questions from the board?
Kind of entertainment establishment are they talking about?
So I don't have specific, I don't have the specifics for that. The agent is here and may be able to answer that for you. Do you want to come up? Yep.
get 5 minutes uninterrupted time?
Okay, that's fine.
Share whatever you'd like.
This is me and my family's building. Our plan is to have a family venue. So just typically weekends it would be used.
You speak up a little bit.
It's, we are planning to have a venue. Just typically we would like to use it on the weekends when people wanna book it.
So like a wedding venue?
Yeah. Just wedding, just any kind of family events, mainly on the weekends, like I said.
Per se a bar, nothing like that, they just for.
Well, we will serve alcohol. So we have, gotten our liquor license and we will have a bar. And we will be requiring, during the events to have security as well, just so we know that there's nothing else going on while we're not there.
Shut down by midnight every night anyways. It's not late night.
What'd you say, sorry?
It says it shuts down by midnight every night.
I think I saw it's like 10 PM on Sunday.
Yeah, well before midnight.
Yeah, yeah.
And midnight on the weekend.
Yes.
Mhm.
I thought I'd seen that a couple places.
Anybody else from the board?
So unless it's booked, there won't be any type of
Correct,
entertainment?
correct.
Okay.
So it's just when we have somebody that books it, that it's gonna be every weekend, maybe like once or twice a month.
Anybody else from the board?
This is
Any questions from the public? Richard?
Hold on.
Oops.
Vanessa's talking.
Yeah, just
Yes, we bought it almost 2 years ago.
What was your question, Vanessa?
I asked if it was a leased building or if it was purchased.
Tim, did you have another one? Nope, she got one.
For public
Richard?
comment, you get 5 minutes to speak. You have to state your name.
That's the old VFW, isn't it?
That's
Or
what-
what used to be there in that building?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, okay. It's far enough away from residential that unless it gets real loud out in the parking lot, it ain't gonna bother anybody.
correct.
Any more questions from the public?
As a reminder, public doesn't get questions, they get comment time, so they
Oh,
get 5
comment,
minutes of
okay.
comment.
Any discussion from the board?
Were there any online?
Are they board members?
Oh, I just meant comments. I didn't know if
Just
they,
comments? Okay, there's a
Rick has
gentleman there that wants to comment.
that Rick has one?
I think he might be muted.
No, I don't have a comment. I was just raising my hand because of the board member question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Well, there's no further discussion. We need a motion to pass.
I would move that we approve this per staff recommendation. This is like a good idea.
All those in favor of the
Just for you
motion,
to
say
second.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Rick, what was your vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, lady.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One step back.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, and then number 6. On the city finances, that was it. Number 7, operating budget and capital improvement program.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, she's got a thick book.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Fultree. I work in the finance department for the city of Wichita, and I'm here this evening to provide an overview of the budget process. And also to give you a quick intro to the budget simulator, which launched earlier this week. We've actually already had 3 budget workshops already this year. So if you're interested in knowing more after this presentation, you could find those online on the City of Wichita YouTube channel. And those workshop dates were January 28th, February 25th, and April 22nd. There we go. I will provide a quick overview of the community survey results from a survey from last fall. An overview of the operating budget, the capital improvement program, and an intro to a resident engagement process this summer. And this QR code, if you're interested, will take you to the budget website online where we have a calendar and budget documents. Okay, one. So the community survey, we sent out to a random sample of Wichita households last fall, and I'll provide you an overview of the results. The survey guided the budget process last year, and we're expecting the same to occur this year. Next one. So overall, the survey, if you've ever received it, it asks residents a lot of questions about all the different services the city of Wichita provides, which you all are probably familiar with being on a DAB. The city of Wichita provides a lot of services. In the survey in 2024, compared to 2023, 22 of those services received higher ratings. 85 of them received similar ratings, and only 3 decreased compared to the last survey, which is good news.
Biggest jump, District 3.
That's true. Yes, overall, much happier bunch this year. So in addition to asking residents how to rate services, we also ask them what they think is important for the city of Wichita to focus on in the next 2 years. So what these two things together guide the budget process. This year, for the first time, we asked residents about affordable housing and homelessness. Those are 2 topics we've heard a lot of feedback about during the budget process and just in the community in general. And when asked about those in the survey, they are both things that residents think are very important to focus on in the next 2 years. Next one. So this matrix might be familiar from the budget process last year, and we're using it again this year. There's a few changes compared to last year. For example, homelessness and affordable housing are new to the matrix for this year because they're new questions. And both of those are in the magenta quadrant. So if you go this way from here to here, this is what people rate as being important. And from the bottom on the top is a service rating. So on homelessness services, that is a service that is rated as being very important to most respondents, but also gets a low quality or satisfaction rating. And the same is true of affordable housing. Street repair is still in that quadrant this year, but it did have an increase in the quality rating for residents. But they still think it's just as important as it was a year before. And there were a couple things that moved quadrants as people found that the ratings, the service was better rated this time. They also thought it was less important. So there's a lot of focus on that magenta quadrant. Unfortunately, I wore my magenta outfit at the DAB meeting on Monday, so I only coordinate with the border this time, so sorry. So budget development, aligning to strategies. You know, the budget process, especially when it comes to the general fund, there is seemingly almost an unlimited number of interests and priorities for the community, but limited resources that we can use to fund those priorities. And so this year, starting in February, following getting the survey results, some efforts regarding strategic planning began. So the City of Wichita's mission statement has what we call 5 pillars. One of them, for example, is keep Wichita safe. Another one is living well. So out of that, those 5 pillars grew 23 goals are connected to those pillars. And those are guiding both the budget process and the capital improvement program. And then on top of those goals, there's 46 strategies. And so there's just a variety of different cross-departmental teams that are working on implementing these strategies. So here is an example for you. This first one is under the Keep Wichita Safe pillar. And this connects directly to the community's interests in focusing on crime prevention in the next 2 years. This goal, which is related to addressing the underlying issues of crime, crosses departments, and even outside of the city of Wichita to other agencies and units of government. So this particular strategy here about behavioral health and substance abuse is one that was addressed during the en banc meeting. Not the Tuesday, it just happened, the last Tuesday in April. A meeting between Sedgwick County and the city of Wichita regarding the opioid settlement funds. So that's an example of a cross-interagency effort to address one of the strategies for one of these goals. I have two more real quick. The next one is related to growing our economy. And this connects to the affordable housing item in the survey. The strategy here is to develop a plan for targeted public intervention to assist with the development of affordable housing. So there are, like the other one, there's a cross-departmental team working on this. And a lot, I was remembering, I came to this DAB in 2021. It's memorable because it was our first round of in-person meetings. I came to you with some ideas that we were considering for spending ARPA funds at the time, for $20 million in ARPA funding to be directed to the community. And this DAB was the most honest DAB that I visited and said that the idea number 4 should be off the list, and it was off the list. So we've really prioritized 3 things, and one of those has been $5 million from affordable housing. Now it's a priority in 2021, and it's even more of a priority today. And next Tuesday, it's been a big investment of ARPA funding to transition 47 of the former Wichita Housing Authority scattered single-family units to community partners for those to be renovated. So that's coming up on the 13th. So we've been busy. The last pillar, as an example, is related to homelessness services. And this one is about cross-departmental teams working to prevent homelessness. And this one, just another thing that we've been using the opioid settlement funds for planning related to this as well. There's a lot of overlap when it comes to homelessness and substance abuse. And so community partners have been working together on this one as well. So those are just 3 examples. I think I said there's 42 strategies. So there are 46. So there's 43 more strategies where these came from. But this is just an example of the work that's going on. And I highlight these 3 because they're, the survey tells us that, I mean, this is what we hear when people talk in the community, but also the survey bears out that what we're hearing in the community matches the survey. So, so the budget book, I have it. Someone said that's big. It's also available online and in all public library locations. It's more than a financial plan. There's a lot of numbers pages, but people sometimes tell me I'm not a numbers person. I'm like, I didn't know I was either. So it's more than numbers. It's also a strategic planning document. So in addition to the strategic planning, it's really the one place that puts together all these different things that we do in a document. We're working on research projects and also working on cost recovery or some other things that are ongoing. So that is the story. So on to the operating budget. As I mentioned, there have been 3 workshops so far, and I really feel that we're in the middle of the story when it comes to budget development. Things can change. I think that things can change, and especially in the operating environment that we find ourselves in. But I'm still going to be brave and provide you a projection of where we think things are today. So this pie chart is for the 2025 adopted budget. That was adopted last August, and this is what we're using for the general fund budget this year. Just as a quick reminder, the city of Wichita has more than 30 funds, but we usually just focus on the general fund when we focus on budgeting, because it funds the services that are highest priority for residents, and there's also a lot of competition for scarce resources. So it funds police, fire, and street maintenance. And if you have a photographic memory, those services are a high priority one on the survey as well. About 75% of the general fund is for salaries and benefits, because it's a very service intensive business that most of these departments are in. So changes in wages or benefits or vacancy levels have a outsized impact on this fund. So that is the general fund. So far, all these priorities that we've been talking about have guided budgeting for a very long time. That's why you see the budget for police, fire, and streets. We will continue to integrate strategic planning as we develop the 2026 proposed budget. And then we're continuing to update our models every month as we finish the month, and we run our reports and make sure that our modeling is on track. So this is the baseline general fund forecast that was presented at the workshop on April 22nd. At this point, the budget for the current year is balanced, and we're expecting a deficit of $1 million next year. Of note is that in 2026 and 2027, we're planning on transferring in from the stabilization reserve. The stabilization reserve is available because we had very high interest earnings for a few years, which you might remember we were here last year. So we had very high interest earnings, and so we transferred over to the reserve, and now we'll be transferring it back into the general fund.
Yeah, just if I may.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Yeah, we had a surplus come in, and again, it's a lot of it had to do with higher interest rates, which helps us with our general fund, but it hurts the CIP. It gets a little kind of wonky there, but we had extra money coming in, and I think $10 million here, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was pretty, yeah, I have it in the book, but we have.
So we, instead of spending it on a bunch of projects that we maybe would have had laid up, we actually put it in a reserve because we saw this deficit coming. And that way we can step down services. That way we're not going to get hit with one big wave. And what is the current number in that reserve?
I should have, that was a question I got last.
I think it was
On
almost,
Monday, and
almost 30 million.
we're about to transfer it. We're closing last year. As of the end of 23, it was 32 million. So, and we have a reserve policy that guides this decision making. Any decision making regarding the reserves, obviously it's directed by the city council, but we have a policy that sets guidelines, and that's something we worked on in 2023. So this kind of, it sounds pretty dull, except it's really important.
Yes.
So in 2027, a deficit is forecasted, and that is because at this point, we expect wages, which are 75% of this budget, wages and benefits, to grow faster than expenditures, which is the typical city of Wichita pattern that we see year in, year out. So that we're close to balancing for next year, but expecting a deficit. Sure. Next slide. So items, because the news is everywhere right now, items that would impact our financial model, position vacancy rates. I think the fire representative talked about them having a fire recruit class graduating. So having hiring positions impacts that. Changes in economic conditions or monetary policy. Very timely. I think I saw the alert today that the Fed chose to keep interest rates at the same place today. So that impacts this projection. property tax growth rates impacts the projection, and we'll get those in mid-June. And then higher than expected labor rates in 26 and 27. When we first put together this projection, we first started projecting earlier this year, we were expecting less inflation. And then that translates into lower wage growth. But based on the Fed's decision to keep interest rates as is, that could add wage pressure to this projection. So just trying to stay nimble. It's just, it all goes to, it's like we're just this tiny microcosm of all these other things going around. So this is another proposal, another projection that we prepared. The legislature, I think, is finished for the year, but one thing they were considering was a proposal where the valuation from new construction, all of that could be captured, but from reappraisal, only the amount up to inflation would be captured. And so what you'll see from this, instead of having a $1 million deficit next year, it's 3.8 million, and then instead of, I think it's 5.6, it jumps to 10.8. One thing I like to provide as a caveat is that a lot of times I get the sense that the new construction amounts we get from the county don't represent a lot of major renovation that happens in buildings in Wichita, simply because we have a lot of this, like the woman who was coming up and talking about that facility or buildings downtown and such. So a lot of times those show up in the reappraisal category rather than new construction. So that's something I think that's especially challenging for Wichita. Should we consider a proposal like that ourselves? That is all with the operating budget. And then I'm going to skip through the CIP. That's our capital improvement program. It's a 10-year program for infrastructure, and we update it annually. So the CIP, just like all the action, the excitement in the operating budget is in the general fund, all the action in the CIP tends to be in a category we call GEO at large, which I spent years mystified by what that means. So let me tell you, GEO stands for general obligation, and at large means that there's no repayment, that means that this kind of debt or this kind of project is supported by taxpayer funds alone, and there's no other source of revenue that repays the project costs. So that's what GEO at large means. So now you're an insider. So this is one smaller, but it is the focus of the CIP, just like what I said. So GEO funding, the next one, it is really focused on heavy equipment, which is all like our big public works dump trucks, parks, which includes maintenance of facilities, public facilities, which includes maintenance of fire and police stations, as well as construction of them, and fire apparatus, which is a very large ticket item, and public safety. Those all go together. So that is where the action is in the CIP. So based on the community investments plan, which the planning department puts together, the goals are to maintain, enhance, and then to expand. We align the whole CIP to these goals and pillars. And also we get feedback from our asset managers and departments about where to direct funding in the CIP based on asset condition. So this is exciting. So as I said, the community investments plan says our top priority is to maintain what we have. And based on what's currently being modeled in the CIP, we meet that goal, especially for the GEO projects. Almost 2/3 of them, of the funding for GEO projects is for maintenance. And then LST, that's local sales tax for roads, bridges, and freeways, and that's about half. And so that would be your funding for street maintenance, the major street maintenance projects. So that's good news, right? So our next steps in the process, I'm continuing to, tomorrow's a big day. They're closing April today. So tomorrow I will be monitoring revenue data We are collecting this strategic alignment across all of our divisions, and we're moving into the resident engagement phase of the budget. Before, I intro the simulator, just as a reminder, we have a workshop on May 27th. If you're interested, you can catch that online. And then there'll be one on June 24th as well. And then the budget will be presented this year on July 15th. If you have more availability in the evening than during the daytime, you can join us on August 7th in the evening for a public hearing. Then we'll have another one in the morning, and the budget and CIP will be adopted on August 26th this year. So very late adoption date. So with that, I don't know how much time you've got, but I have these, I have two handouts for you. One is a handout that has a QR code for the budget simulator, which we launched yesterday, and it's very easy to use on your phone if you're interested. And then I have this other handout, and it shows in the general fund, the amount of property tax support for each general fund department, and then how many general fund positions there are for departments. So there you go. So what do you think? Should I demo this quickly or not? Yeah, I don't know what your agenda is tonight.
You're our last item other than the board agenda, so.
Okay, well, if you can look, give them that, the blue link, you should be able to get there. Maybe.
I ask a question.
Sure.
In its simplest form, is a CIP where a localized area in a city increases the taxes and people that shop there pay more money to help with the improvements?
That's a CIP.
Oh,
CIP.
Yep.
CIP.
CID.
Okay, you're all talking at once as to what?
CID, D as in dog at the end, not P.
Okay, I thought I was confused. Thank you.
Oh, I'm just not sharing the right screen.
Question. On the modified growth, back on slide
Yes.
is it 9 or 16, you've got a $20 million increase in revenues. Where do we expect that revenue increase to be coming from? It goes from,
20 million
it goes from, on slide 9, it goes from 328 million in 2025 to 348 for revised revenues. That's a $20 million increase in 2 years.
Oh, to 2027. Yeah,
I'm just curious as to
Yeah,
where we
so-
expect that to come from.
yeah, there's a lot. In this page, actually, if you go down, it has a pie chart with all of our different revenue sources on it. So in addition to property tax, the second largest source of revenue is franchise fees.
Franchise fees would be,
Taxes on utilities,
oh yay.
on utility bills. And
Okay.
then the third largest source of revenue is local sales tax. These are the big sources of revenue. And of course, growth compounds. That's for the 2025 budget there. We focused a lot on revenue in the last few years because revenue is very volatile. And now I feel that we're shifting to talking more about strategy and expenditure side. So, but I think we had, and we've talked more about the CIP, I feel like this year than we have in the past because we had so many projects that were funded from ARPA for a bit. There's more pressure in the CIP. So this is the budget simulator and it has some graphics here. You've already seen them. But if you go down, you can get started. Let's get started. How neat is that? So just briefly, what it allows you to do is to increase or decrease services. You can't get rid of anything. So you can increase things by by incremental amounts, and I work with the departments to come up with some scenarios. And we have these incremental amounts because we want to make this be a tool that matches more or less decision-making that happens in the budget process. And I don't think I've worked in the budget office for quite a while now, and I can't think of a time when someone said, well, let's just get rid of the whole department. Right, it's usually incremental. So here in this eye, you can find out more about the service. And then you have to go to the close button at the top. There you go. And so then you can increase or decrease. So now you're starting with you started with a deficit of $1 million, now you're going the wrong way. And so it tells you what would happen if you were to do these different options. And we've grouped them like in the quadrants. And it's led to what in some cases is an unpopular design feature, which is the higher importance services you can increase or decrease, but the lower importance services you can only decrease. So that it is unpopular in many ways. That's one of the bits of feedback we hear, but that matches the charge that staff has heard over the last few years, which is let's focus on the high importance services, particularly the ones that have the low service ratings. So we did our best to put this together. I hope that you all find it interesting. You can share it with people, and it's online until August 19th. So we've already had about 100 people complete budgets in the last few days. It's pretty neat. And even if you don't like it, like you don't like your budget, because I will tell you, you have to make hard decisions to balance the budget. Please stay the course and go to the end, because at the end, there's a place where you can provide comments. Does that make sense? And the comments, we can just export all of them. They're fascinating. Or if you feel like there's something missing and so forth. Of course, this isn't all the services we provide. Water isn't on here because that's not in the general fund, or sewer, or coming up blank right now. But, you know, stay the course, fill it out. It's really quite easy to do on your phone. So give it a try. We really do welcome your feedback because we do this all for you. Any other questions?
Any questions from the board? One lady, right?
I do have a question
Sure.
about the setup of the budget simulator.
Yeah,
with the things that are deemed lower importance, not being able to increase their budget. I mean, given that not everybody gets the survey, is there any consideration to untethering the budget simulator from those surveys?
It used to be connected to the survey.
Okay.
Before as much survey importance was placed on it. Importance was placed on the survey. The survey was sent to a random sample, and it is, I have a slide for it. It's weighted so that it represents the demographics of the community, because it's the truth that younger people are less likely to respond to surveys and so forth. One thing on those lower importance services, what we would encourage departments to do, if they said, there's this initiative I want to do, it makes a difference, it would make it more effective. Almost always the response from the budget office is there something you can do more efficiently? Can you reallocate resources in your department? Is there something you used to be doing that maybe isn't something that still, you know, that like realistically, so 0 is an option on those, so.
Well, I was thinking more in terms as a source of community feedback, right? You're having people from the community fill out these surveys. I mean, you've had the budget simulator before, and it gave you the option to increase or decrease for all of the items. And I'm just curious, is there a plan to switch back to that? I feel like that's a better source of more representative community input.
Yeah, and then we did it this way last year too. I checked in and I said, we got feedback about the structure of the survey, and the direction I was given is, let's keep the structure the same because it matches the reality of budgeting. So that's the direction, but yeah, there's also a county budget simulator right now too, if you're really into budget simulators, but theirs is only open for 2 weeks. If you really wanna do budgets, jump on that one first, because this one's
Okay.
available for months.
I got a free Friday night, so I don't know if I can handle both.
Yeah, I'm stuck in an airport or stuck at the doctor's office, yeah, you just hand out the little things at the emergency room, everyone's got free time, do a budget. So, yeah, but that's good, I mean, it's good feedback, we did a couple years, we arranged it by service area. We did it that way, so we'll see, it is what it is. It's my answer, I guess. Yes,
First of all, I love playing with the budget
okay.
simulator. I spend too much time
Yeah.
often playing with them. Don't necessarily submit what I play with, but sometimes I'm just playing SimCity. But as far as the amount of influence the simulator has on decision,
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the one thing that came back last year as a priority, both in the survey and as a priority in the simulator, that doesn't get as much, I think it exists in the background more, is parks. I think that it was a service that might have been the second biggest to be increased last year after street maintenance, but my memory may be hazy. And I think that hearing that, because a lot of times people are like, well, parks, just mow them less, or just, and so I think I think sometimes between the two, it can introduce a voice in a conversation that isn't always heard or isn't always present.
as far as the survey, I'll call it the simulator survey, is that data passed on to city council for your district then?
Yeah.
Is
You
it
don't
broken down
find
by
it,
district?
no, it's not broken down by district, it's completely anonymous, people can provide their zip codes, but it is an all-comer survey, so it's.
Just cover it down my list.
Yeah.
Or if there's a way to get district for next year, just.
No, yeah, it's not the way the data works being anonymous. We don't ask, I think one reason why people do enjoy it is you don't have to log in. Like one more login, right? So there's no login, you just jump in and go. But the community survey that we did in the fall, that does have information by district. So that was something else, but yeah, it is interesting that there are differences between districts. But by and large, I actually, in the survey, there are more differences between age groups than there are by district. So, and I think the simulator asked about that too. So I see more variation.
After it closes, I would love to see us get a feedback session on that. We hear back on how it works.
Any questions from the public? Yes, sir.
I have one when we get a chance.
We got one over here next.
So mine as a comment is, I think it would be great if you would say where the public could find those pillars and strategies.
That's a good question. So I will double check on that because at this point, I feel like there's it's been staff working papers because we've been developing them, but I will check on that. Because right now it's just a Word document that we've been editing and working on, but at some point soon, maybe it will be. We have a wonderful graphic designer, so if I do things, they don't look good, but maybe someone else. So that's a good question. Thank you for that.
The gentleman on the screen.
Rick.
Oh, I have a better answer for you. I know these will be presented at the workshop on May 27th.
And can people attend those or just?
Yes, you can
Okay.
attend the workshop on that, and then usually what we do is if we have support documents or support reports through the workshop that are handed out at the workshop. We post them on the budget process website because at that point they are public information. So sorry to be slow on your response.
And those dates and locations can all be found on.
Yeah, so it's May 27th, and they usually start around like 9:15, 9:30.
Tuesday morning, it's instead of the last city council meeting. So they're the fourth Tuesday of the month. 9 o'clock, it's just down at City Hall, so come on down and have a good time. That's gonna
Typically
be,
they're in the boardroom, not the council chambers.
Yeah.
Usually.
yeah,
They move.
It's probably meant for civic engagement.
Yeah, and those are online too. Sorry to be slow on the response, but I got you a good response. Okay, next, our guy from the ceiling.
So I've got a couple of quick questions. One is the CIP, is that something that's mandated from the federal level or the state level as a requirement, or is that something that we just do to forecast? That's one question. And then the other one is, I noticed on the increases from 25 to 27, next year is not anywhere near as much of an increase as 27. You mentioned wages. Is there other increases that are going into that? Because that seems like quite a substantial increase when we're talking about the budgeting being an issue at that time.
Yeah, on the first question regarding the CIP, there is not a state requirement for the frequency that a CIP is developed or adopted by a city council, or for the frequent, there's not, I reckon there's not a requirement at the state level. However, the planning commission must find that the CIP is in conformance with the comp plan in order to gosh, I have it in here, but it's for there are some planning and zoning requirements to have a CIP more than anything. That being said, it is an excellent financial forecasting tool that we use for the departments that finance capital improvements, and having an annual CIP is something that Standard & Poor's noted when they just provided our bond rating upgrade earlier this year. Regarding your other question, the anticipated surplus usually grows faster each year just because expenditures outpace revenues. And I did not bring all those details with me. We'll probably share those at the workshop in May. And I think we had it, I can find something for the workshop and share that with Becca, if that would be okay. But that is the typical pattern that we expect. So we're expecting we're expecting actually a decrease in interest earnings and then slower growth in things like sales tax. We are expecting a bump this year in franchise fees. Those were, I think, lower. It went down. That's a really volatile revenue source. It went down from 23 to 24. We're expecting a bump this year due to the extraordinarily cold weather in the first.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Too bad. Thank you.
Any other questions? I guess not. Thank you.
Thank you all for your engagement. These meetings, it matters. It really matters.
We leave those extra stuff over there on the table.
Oh, thank you. I'll take them to Dab. Sick.
There's no room for Mike on the sheet, so I can.
Sold. No, now it's time to pick a new chair or re-up the current chair or.
Let's pick a new chair.
So Mike, you lead the
Actually,
process.
there's no current chair, there's just a vice chair.
Yeah.
So a chair should.
So do we have any nominees? Anybody want to step up and run the DAB meetings?
Come on, somebody, it's fun.
I'll do it.
All right, all right.
Anybody else wanna put
Officially
their name in?
nominate you.
Anybody else wanna put their name in the hat? Going once, going twice. Make the motion,
Motion to accept, I can't read your name from here.
Jesse.
Jesse, thank you. As the chair of the new year, Deb. Do you need a second?
Second.
Very seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? All right, we have a new chair.
now, Madam Chair, we have an election for vice chair, so if there's anybody who would like to step up and.
Are you good at being in meetings?
Yes.
I will volunteer to do it for one more year, because I'm done at the end of this year, if you want me to. But if she shows up, I won't have to do it, so.
Anybody wants to oppose?
Does anybody want to be vice chair? Okay.
Don't all volunteer at once.
Madam Chair, you can call the question.
All right, well, do we have a motion?
Mike, yeah.
All right, Jerry moves. Do we have a second?
A second.
I'll second.
Jerry moved, Vanessa seconded. With an extra second from Rick, just to be sure. All those in favor say aye, and all
Aye.
opposed? Big it carries.
Yeah. All right, congratulations to the chair and vice chair. Now, since I'm not on the agenda, Madam Chair, would you like me to speak or do you wanna send everybody home early?
Let's see, you did bring treats, we'll let you.
No, you'll let me. I appreciate that. All right, so just a few things here real quick. The workshop in May will not only be about the budget, it will also be about some new ordinances, some new codes that we're looking at. Section 8, they're kind of doing things a little different. I think they have some changes coming out in October as well. So it should be a good discussion. June, at the workshop, we will be talking hotel and motel permitting and doing away with the hourly rates. That's something that is especially important in our district, I think. So always more than welcome to come. Always it's the fourth Tuesday. It's when we usually have a council meeting, 9 o'clock down at City Hall. So we also have those on YouTube and the city webpage, the city Facebook page, I believe as well. So you can go back and watch any in the past. Elizabeth spoke earlier about the opioid funding that we have. And I've spoken about this in the past. It's $15 million over 13 years. It's a settlement with the pharmaceutical companies for essentially getting people addicted to some of the opioids that they had. So we have combined our funding with the Sedgwick County. We're setting up a board. We had a study done. Always have to have a study, but what it came back was I think 4 areas that everybody's pretty much in agreement on. Treatment for that's adjacent to the MAC, the multi-agency homeless shelter, because we know the obvious need for people there, and especially having the treatment ready for people when they are ready. You know, with a lot of people, it's 7, 8 times before they're finally ready. So having some sort of treatment or service ready for people when they are ready. I'm also looking at maybe getting some programming into the jail. People are in there, they're dried out. We do have some services in there, but we could always look at doing a little more, especially again, when people, you have kind of a captive audience, you're dry. Let's get in there and try and get them before they get out of jail. Let's also have something ready for them to go to a halfway house or something like that as well. So they're not just right back out on the street. Education is a big piece, especially with fentanyl in our schools. It has to be data driven, but there's a lot of good groups around like YEEP, who goes into the schools already and they talk to kids about one pill can kill, with the fentanyl especially. And the other area is medical detox, especially for people who don't have insurance. This is what leads to a lot of people becoming homeless. There's no safety net there to catch you. You don't have insurance, your family doesn't have insurance, or you are too old to stay on your parents' insurance. That's a big gap right there that we have in our community right now. So I think those are the 4 areas that we are going to focus on as far as dispersing this money. And again, it's 15 million over 13 years, so it's a long-term plan as well. Just trying to plug and find the gaps in our community and plug those gaps. Elizabeth talked earlier, and I just want to put this on people's radars, budget cuts, federal budget cuts, and especially hitting our housing department. The president put out his budget here recently. Now, it's a political process and it has to go through Congress, but a lot of cuts to vouchers, a lot of cuts to some of the affordable housing programs as well. So we're gonna have to adjust that depending on what happens in Washington. Right now, we're holding our breath, we're crossing our fingers. We're waiting for some more clarity there. But it is something we're gonna have to adjust as the budget is developed. So again, I just wanna put that on your guys' radar. We don't really know ourselves yet what's gonna happen, but we'll try and keep you guys plugged in the best we can. Fireworks survey, we have it posted. Please take it, you guys can take it. We have had over 1,000 respondents already, and it's been open for less than a month. So it's a lot of good feedback. Elizabeth wasn't lying about the older people are the ones that like to take the surveys. We try and adjust it. And then it's also the demographic issue too, because a lot of people either don't want to log in and sign on and create a new account in order to take this survey, or they're not leaving their demographic information. So some of it's kind of a guessing game, but we're going to try and adjust it scientifically as much as we can. But I'd love to hear you guys' input, because right now we're looking at a number of things. The state just recently legalized year-round fireworks sales.
Wow.
They also allowed for an extension of an extra week of fireworks shootings in the city. So these are some of the questions that's on there as well. Do we want to permit fireworks sales year-round? You know, so it's important that you guys all reach out. And it also talks about the current firework code, us allowing aerial fireworks for 3 days. Again, that's mostly designed in order to give people their time that they can shoot, and then hopefully the days before and after, it's cut down quite a bit. Anybody who stood outside on the 4th of July in Wichita, we know that there's enforcement issues there. It's just something we cannot have every single police officer, every single firefighter out on the street trying to chase these downs during the whole fireworks season. So that was an adjustment to more allow people their a limited time, 3 days. It's going to be the same as last year, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But we're asking questions about that as well on the fireworks. We do pay attention to this stuff. We really do. Mike, you have a question?
Yeah, is that on the state passing that law, is it a county option? Can you opt out of it as a county, or?
For year-round sales?
Yeah.
I believe so. Counties, we do have the option. And that's something we're gonna be looking at is, do we want to do that or do we want to ban it? Because as it currently sits, unless we pass an ordinance that bans year-round fireworks sales, the state fire marshal can say, okay, Wichita, it's allowed in your city. So we're discussing that right now.
Second question is, why aren't we allowed to use the city parks to put off fireworks?
That's been discussed in the past as well. It's more of a cleanup and safety issue. Like, we can do that. But then that's where the firefighters will have to be focused. It's a little easier for smaller towns like Andover.
I can see where the cleanup would be a problem, but safety, if it's dry, you have minimum amount of buildings if you.
Yeah, but you.
Well, it's more, we would have to have firefighters out there or instead of
just curious. That's
driving around the war zone that we get. The concerns, again, it could be up for discussion, and I might even be on the fireworks survey. I've seen the results so far. I can't remember if that particular question's on there. It might be.
All right,
The big piece is liability. If the city allows open fireworks in a park, then if you were to get injured, you can say, well, you told me I could do this. So we have to move all of our staff to the parks to make sure no one's getting injured or hurt. And that means there's less folks out on the streets if something happens while you're independently firing off
If you
fireworks.
signed a waiver, you can do it. No, I'm sorry.
Waivers fix everything, right? There's never been a single case of someone getting sued with a waiver in place.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. We are having year-round sales.
The state has allowed
The
that.
state is saying year-round sales,
And so,
but the state is saying a 2-week period for shooting them off? Are we like,
it's a 20, I think it's June 20th through July 5th.
so stock up all year so you can shoot them off during that 2-week period? This makes no sense to me. It's-
I will keep my mouth shut on that one. I Rich?
I've been in a lot of other states that have year-round fireworks. Trust me, them buildings are not full, and normally the ones that go in there are usually the ones from out of state like Kansas.
Absolutely.
But in the beginning, they'll go crazy because you got crazy people that want to blow stuff up. But after a year or two, it'll mellow out. And you're right. My brother-in-law and nephew, they go over to Missouri, out of Oklahoma, over in Missouri and buy some all year. So they've got it on the 4th of July.
Then I
That's
suggest,
their Christmas.
I suggest that we consider quadrupling our fines for when it is not allowed to shoot off fireworks in the city of Wichita.
Fines are currently at
Wichita.
$1,000 per first violation. The highest we can go is 2,000. And that's where it gets on the third violation.
Okay.
So it's 1,000, 1,500, 2,000.
We can only go to 2,000?
We can only go to 2,000.
Who sets that cap?
Above my pay grade, John.
Wait, you get paid?
Some days it doesn't feel like it. I did want to give a shout out, Chief Bowen was talking about the cancer screenings. Councilmember Becky Tuttle really spearheaded that effort, so I like to do what the kids call give people their flowers. So, she worked real hard on it. There was a bill, to expand it statewide, in the state legislature, and they did not act on it. So, I'm just putting that out there. SOSI is having a safety meeting on the 29th of this month, I believe, at 6 o'clock. Is that at Hamilton?
Currently it'll be 1009 South Broadway unless we get a lot of people.
Okay,
Then we'll might shift to Hamilton.
okay, yeah, it's, I know there's a lot of concern about, activity on South Broadway. We'll talk about the risk terrain management. We'll talk about some pretty neat stuff that we also have in the works. Possibly drones as first responders. South Broadway is gonna be the pilot project for that. Talking about the Real-Time Information Center, also known Real-Time Crime Center. Some improvements that are coming with that, they're building it right now at City Hall. So this is a process, we've had it in the works for a couple of years, it's all starting to come to fruition. But also just, it'd be good for everybody to get just kind of a basic idea of here we are, here we're going. So I encourage you, especially if you have friends that live along the corridor, send them to that meeting. We'll also be talking about the hotel motel ordinances as well, because that is a major cause of what's going on along the corridor. So I invite you to that again. That's 6 o'clock on May 29th.
Where did you say that was? I'm sorry.
Is that the SOSI?
SOSI Collective.
SOSI Collective, yeah. 1009.
1009, corner of Broadway and Gilbert.
A special thank you to Becca and all the other CSRs and city staff. We had the neighborhood workshop a week ago. It went great. I know a couple of you here were present at that. I think there was a lot of good communication going on. Kind of got a better idea of when and where they are and where they're moving with a lot of their new momentum that they have. So it was a great event. I just, again, give people the flowers. Becca did all the work. Firefighter Museum is now officially the state firefighter memorial. So that was a big deal. It incidentally got put as a ride along with the legalizing year-round fireworks. That was the only way it could get through the legislature. But this is a great thing for our district. We're gonna start fundraising, doing improvements to the park, closing it off. We're gonna be showing all of the firefighters, their families, their friends, the respect that they deserve. And again, this is the state firefighter memorial now. It already practically is a state firefighter memorial, but now we can do a lot more improvements there as well and get some additional funding. So beginning of October, I believe the first Saturday is when they will have the ceremony out there. It's a moving ceremony. They got the bagpipes. I'll be talking to you guys about this more as the year goes along. I fully encourage everybody to get out there. Clap Park, June 4th at 11 o'clock will be the official ribbon cutting. Yeah, I've talked about this till you guys were all blue in the face pretty much, but this is something that I just think is a great amenity for our city. I'd like to use it as a template for all parks improvements going forward. I think all parks should be accessible. But they got zip lines for kids in wheelchairs. They got the swings for the kids in the wheelchairs. They have a big boom that goes around and you can wheel your kid up and they can go down the slide even. So it's great and it's needed. You shouldn't have to drive 20-25 minutes across town to let your kid play. So the closest one we have that's similar is Sedgwick County Park, but I think we blow them out of the water with this one. So please, everybody, I'd love to have all your smiling faces out there for this one. This is just going to be a great thing for our city and our area of town. Major improvements going on at the sewage treatment plant. They're building the new clarifiers. I think July, we will be having the first lid come in and sit over the vats of human waste. I think there's 3 total. So we will be seeing incremental improvements as this year goes on into next year. Just a warning, there will also be moments where the odor gets worse as we transition over to this, but major improvements coming. It will definitely affect our community, especially those down a little south of, on the south side of the district here, more than others. And it's, drive down hydraulics certain times of the day, it's like hitting a wall. It really is, and I feel so bad for everybody who has to deal with it. But those improvements are coming. And tomorrow evening, there's the Manette Hall Conference. It'll be at Wichita State Tech or Wichita State Metroplex, thank you. That's so much smarter than I am. But there will be like 80 congregations there and probably around 1,500 people. We will be talking about affordable housing. We will be talking about some MAC adjacent stuff as well. It's a good group. They like to hold the elected officials feet to the fire. So I'll be down there. Hopefully they don't bring vegetables or anything like that. No, they're friendly. They're a good group, but there will be community discussions about how to continue funding the MAC and trying to form an affordable housing fund around $10 million. It's going to be quite an ask. We'll work on it the best we can. So that conversation will be going tomorrow as well. So please, if you're not doing anything, you want to come down 6 o'clock at the Metroplex down there. Should be interesting, and we'll see how many people are happy with us at the end of it. I think we'll be all right. But really, that's all I have. So any questions or comments or anything? Rich?
Are they still dumping water out of the new water treatment plant into the ditch?
I don't think they're doing that anymore. I can check on that. I think that was a limited test.
Every time I hear how low Cheney is, I start cussing you. 'Cause
Well,
they-
because our public works every time I get stopped at a stoplight for more than a minute, so there's a lot of that cussing going around. And I did talk last time about the water reuse, study that we have right now. About taking the water from the sewage treatment plant, which is already almost drinking water quality. And taking it back out to the water treatment plant for reuse. You know, we gotta get over that ick factor, but that's half of our water that we use every single day can come from the sewage treatment.
Years ago, they talked about doing that here.
They,
Everybody, ooh, but
now if they wanna water their lawn more than once a week.
they couldn't get the state to approve it, but years ago, there was a guy that built, septic tanks. And he literally took colored water that you could not see through, and he dumped it in, and by the time it come out the other side in about 15-20 minutes, it was crystal clear, and he took it and drank it.
Yeah.
And so the technology has been here for years.
If we do this, we would be the second city to embrace full-on water reuse.
Yeah.
They have different ways of doing it, but this would be the second city in America that did full on, pump it right to the sewage, or right to the water treatment plant and reuse. And I'm of the opinion droughts are gonna be getting longer and more intense. So this is really setting our city up for our kids, our grandkids, to be able to live here and grow up here and stay in Wichita as well, so. So yeah, we got that, that should be coming back here in, I think, 2 months or so, and then we'll discuss whether or not to pursue that project or not.
Well, I think some of these car washes that they're putting in nowadays, they're recycling that water too, so it's not as crucial on a car, but it's still there. I mean, it's still gotta be clean.
Right, yep, and we're still in phase 2 of the drought. I don't think we'll get to phase 3 this year. Hopefully this rain continues, and hopefully we're getting a lot of it 30 miles or so out west in the Cheney Reservoir. That's where we need it, not necessarily Wichita, although it does water your lawn for you, but I think we have like the fewest cases of people actually getting fined in our district because we're used to this kind of stuff, you know. I think we're good people here, going out east and out west. Especially with some of the HOAs, they have like requirements to water your lawn so many times a week. Keep your lawn looking green like that. We've had to iron out some issues with some of the HOAs out there, but we're keeping it up. Yeah.
I just have one Lincoln Park question. With it being designated as the state memorial, are we gonna have to wait for the splash pad to open up until after that happens? Since you're not gonna open it this year?
Well, we're looking at redesigning the splash pad, I believe. So those discussions are ongoing. Yeah, Lincoln Park, every year, man. I mean, it's not Plainview this year. This is the first year Plainview hasn't been vandalized, but Lincoln Park, it's always an issue. That's why one of the first things we wanna do is secure it. Fence it off, be able to go in there and clear people out at the sundown. So it's definitely on our mind how to proceed with that going forward. But I think the plans have a firefighter themed splash pad too. So it might be a firefighter with the hose, it might just be a fire hydrant that shoots out or something like that. But an investment like that, we're definitely gonna make sure that we protect it.
It'll depend on how much money it is to repair, essentially. Part of the issue in that particular splash pad is just the age of the infrastructure. They didn't replace the pipes when they put like the new splash pad in, so half the time it's vandalized and the other half of the time it's just that those pipes are not up to par for that work.
I think that's what it was last year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so not entirely sure. We'll have to see how much the repair is and if they decide to just push that backwards until we are getting a new splash pad and when exactly that new splash pad will go in.
No?
Nope, I'm good.
No, that's it. Nobody else? All
I
right.
I
was gonna ask Rick who his guest was.
Oh, the kitty?
Yeah.
I've been looking at the kitty too.
Sure can see that bald spot.
We,
I can't, I just can't shut them in somewhere, so they'll travel by every now and then.
quick reminder to those of you on the actual board, you have DAB training on the 31st. Most of you have RSVP'd. If I haven't gotten an RSVP form from you yet, I'll be reaching out in the next couple days to get that from you. District 3 is currently almost completely done RSVPing. Every other DAB is like 2 or 3, so there wasn't a competition, but we've kind of already won it, so now we'll just call it there's a competition.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we won, or almost winning.
Madam Chair, a motion to adjourn is always in order.
Mike is on it, all right. All those in favor? Say
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good meeting.
Yeah, everybody stay safe, drive home safe. Let's see you next month, if not sooner.
If we can't drive, we'll row.
You tell me, they're on the meeting.